Hey everybody, video here today, and this kind of goes in line with the video I did about a week and a half ago about the Birdman of Cahokia. We are going down to Takalik Abaj, I think that is the way it is pronounced. I'm sure I will be corrected, but here you see on Google Earth, not much to be seen. There's actually about 80 structures under here. And here is a look at some of the standing stones and some of the steps. It looks like something that is still mostly covered by growth here. There are at least 83 structures and more than 300 sculpted stone monuments. Although few tombs have been discovered thus far, other structures suggest a history of elite pleasures and rituals. One of Mesoamerica's largest ball courts, measuring 75 feet by 16 feet, stretches across one of the site's few flat areas. But there was one very important tomb found here, and there was a lot of jade ornaments found in it. No bones, and they theorize, I think I read one place where because of the soil composition, the bones deteriorated away, but I guess that isn't set in stone what happened to them. But based on where the artifacts were found in the tomb, they think this was the tomb of an elite. Now this is archaeology, and what was found here is pretty unique, and people think that this is kind of a transition site where the Olmec are kind of transitioning into the Maya, and that's kind of a controversy. But here are some of the things that were found in a tomb, so they clearly think this was a royal. Jade artifacts, a necklace here, a bat mask made of jade, and then this mask that was found in the tomb, a pyrite mirror. When this was made, this was shiny bright and reflective. And I don't know if some of you have heard the story of the pyrite stars that are in the caves beneath the pyramids of Teotihuacan and kind of mimicking the stars at night. I think that's a fascinating story. Haven't talked about that for a while. But some jade artifacts found in this tomb. The bat gods, I have talked about them before. In this video from last spring, I went over the bat god and the hero twins and how the bat is important to the Maya cosmology. It says, Tomb of the Vulture Lord. A king's burial reveals a pivotal moment in Maya history. Here is the tomb they found here, and according to where these jade beads and figurines were found in the tomb, they theorize he was wearing some of these upon death and when he was put in here. It says, deep in a burial mound, an early Maya ruler lay adorned with hundreds of jade beads on his chest, ankles, and wrists, signaling his high status in the world and the next. Surrounding him were decorated ceramic platters and extraordinary figurines. Now here is a jade ornament, and they say it represents a vulture, and this was found, what they say, in a position that would have been hanging around his neck, so not very big, but signified that he was a royal, they say. And remember in my Birdman of Cahokia video, I went over all of the ancient cultures that signified the bird and the human, and they kind of combined the two in some cases. Horus in Egypt, and they were all representing birds and signifying some sort of important royal figure in their mythology. Here it says a collection of ceramic figurines in the tomb date from the dawn of Maya civilization. And here's that vessel that they think held goods for the afterlife. And here's a close-up of the figurine with the mouth attached. Not much to be seen from overhead, but there are actually about 80 structures here, so let's just go down, take a peek. But here is one of the structures here, and since this place was found not very long ago, I guess this place could be described as partially excavated. Here is one cleared area with a stela, and it says here this is the stela commemorative of the 13 Baktun. So it seems like some of these stelas were maybe celestial and timekeeping type things. Now here is another area, and there are mounds at this site, and these clearly look like mounds coming from maybe 2,000 years ago in North America. And here are the ruins at Takalik Abaj, and it's probably called Takalik Abaj. That's probably the way it is pronounced. I should have looked, but pronunciation is not a strong point, but a good look at the site here. But this site dates back to maybe 2,500, 3,000 years ago. So if it's that old, can you really call it Mayan? And these sites are kind of labeled with names such as pre-classic. This is one of those videos I enjoy doing, exploring jungle ruins, just sitting on my butt here in Las Vegas. Here's an area where excavation appears to be going on. And that almost looks like an Olmec head right there, but I am not sure what this is. That doesn't look like a stela. That's a little confusing. And here you see part of the structure that is buried that they are excavating in front of. Now here is a better look at that stone. And is this a face in here with headgear on? That would certainly be Olmec, but I can't quite tell what that is. You can leave your comments below. But they theorized that headgear on those Olmec statues came from maybe them playing in the ball game, and there are ball courts from the Olmec and then in the Mayans, and there are also ball courts around the mound builder site, some of them. But this is a site, you really can't see anything much from overhead, but down on the ground there are at least 80 structures down here. There's a spot where they are excavating, and they have unearthed some sort of monolith beneath here. That is a huge stone, and I don't see any writing on it, so I don't think it's a stela. It could be, but that is very, very large and buried. Here is another excavation site, and it looks like this is at the base of a mound. Some sort of stonework there, altar, something, stela, maybe right there. Here's one of the larger pyramid structures here, still buried. And you notice right down here, they have a shaft going down. How far down? I can't get a better look. That's a little frustrating, but certainly they found something deep down here. Now here is a structure they are excavating, overgrown here at the top. Down below appears to be a couple different types of stonework down here, and what appears to be a stela of some sort right here. This is a pretty unique site, the place of the standing stones, and appears the whole place is made of stonework, and it's grown over with grass and other things here. Here at another area, we have just what you would call a mound. They have these impressions in here, maybe stonework right underneath. But this is one of those sites where we can say the Olmecs kind of transitioned into the Maya. But what other cultures did they have an influence on? Well, that is still all up for debate. Now here is a paper I found written by the University of South Florida, written about 8 years ago, and they did some good research here. In this paper here, they show all the stela that are here, and it's a little hard to tell what's on them here, but very interesting. All the stelas here, there was many of them. Now here's a pic from 1875, obviously dense jungle ruins here. Here they did laser scans of the stela, tried to bring out features of it so you'd see it better. Here is additional 3D scan survey of the stelas here. This is stela number 18. Now here's the look of one of the stelas, kind of a color reproduction here. But there is a figure here on a boat on the water, and this comes from their creation story, when an island to the east went down in a cataclysm. And here are a couple very strange looking stone sculptures at the site. And here is an image from what they call their Pharaoh laser scan, what is underneath the growth here. But clearly a stone pyramid. You can see it perfectly here. And the black dots represent the sites where they did the 3D documentation from. Now here is a pic of what they found when they excavated down. It looks like about maybe 8 or 10 feet. Huge stela that are quite a ways beneath the surface of the ground here. Here you see a huge rock used to carve glyphs and scenes in. It seems the early rulers of America were no different than the early rulers of Egypt. Here you see a figure, left foot out front, right arm raised, left arm out front in the typical fashion of the constellation of Orion, strangling the serpent. Seems like these early rulers of America ruled over the earth and the heavens, just like the rulers of Egypt, because the serpent brought destruction in ancient times. Something to think about. And here is my Egypt impact video from last April. And here is an ancient rock art scene in the desert of Egypt, a celestial falling object, and then the figure here with the right arm raised, left arm out in front, left foot raised. Were they depicting celestial stories here? and relating them to their kings on Earth? Well, I think so. But I think Orion was clearly important to these early people because he hunted enemies in the sky. And here is the colored scan adjustment for that depiction with the arm raised holding up the serpent here. Is that a depiction of Orion? Well, it could be. And here is a scan of one of the structures here. They call this their digital terrain model. But their terrain scan data mapping here has shown many stone pyramid structures underneath the growth here. But here is some terrain and scan mapping that they have done at Takalik Abaj. I think that is the correct pronunciation. One of those videos, you just never know what you're going to find until you do it. Not much to be seen on Google Earth here, but pretty fascinating story. Tomb of the Vulture King relates to some other videos I have done lately. This is Western Guatemala. Hope you thought that was interesting. And you all have a very nice day.